What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Dana Pink is back. I'm a little bit late to this. I saw the announcements, of course, when everyone else did, but, I had other commitments that I had to do, so I was not able to make a video until now. But fight announcements. UFC 304 has a main event, it has a co-main event, and it has a feature fight, and it also has the other two fights on the main card. So yeah, we've got the full main card for UFC 304 in Manchester, England, and it's looking stacked. Dana White's excited, we're excited, you're excited, the whole crew's excited. Let's get into the fights. Now, Dana White remembered the name and he gave him a title shot. It's Belal Muhammad title season. Nah, it's not. Leon's going to fucking win. But Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad 2, the highly anticipated rematch, is going to headline UFC 304 in Manchester, in England. And I'm actually looking forward to the fight. I actually think it's such a meme that everyone's been just shitting on this fight so much, saying it's going to be the worst fight ever, saying no one wants to see it, that I'm actually kind of interested. Yes or no in the comments. I'm kind of interested in this fight because, they've been chatting shit back and forth. It's interesting to see if any changes are going to be made from the first fight. I do think they are going to shit talk each other a lot. And yeah, I'm overall just excited to see if Leon Edwards can add another title defense to his resume, or if Belal Muhammad, the most unlikely challenger, or not even the most unlikely challenger, but just the most confusing challenger, not in terms of merit, but in terms of just no one ever wanted to see this guy be champion. No one wants to see this guy have success in the sport. It's almost funny and intriguing if you can get it done. So that is really the intrigue with this matchup. And look, I do believe Leon Edwards is going to win, and I think a lot of people are just looking at both of their fights individually and saying, oh, this is going to be awful, it's going to be boring. But I genuinely think when two really boring fighters fight each other, especially men's fighters, women's fighters not so much, but when two boring men's fighters fight each other, it actually kind of ends up being solid. And the first fight wasn't that bad. Let's be honest, the first round of that fight was probably more entertaining than 3/4 of the Colby Covington fight. I genuinely think this fight is actually going to be pretty good. Belal is actually going to bring it because he's fighting really to win, not just to control time. And Leon, I think in his hometown, in his home crowd, we saw how he fought against Usman in the trilogy. That fight was actually pretty fun. That was not a boring fight. Sure, he didn't get a finish, but I think people see, oh, Leon Edwards decision, and they'll be like, oh, he's just decisioning everyone. It must be boring. The Colby fight sucked, but that was because Colby was fighting like a pansy. But the Usman fight, the third fight, was actually pretty fun. The rematch was dead because Usman was fighting on his own terms. But when Leon was getting off in the striking, it's actually pretty fun, and when he lets the punches go and actually throws it a little bit higher output than he normally does, it can be actually really fun to watch. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. I am going to pick Leon, and I do think he actually might going to find the TKO, because I think Belal's might leave himself open. He might go for something. He might try and stand with Leon for a bit, or just overall be forced to stand with him, because I do think Leon is going to stuff most of the takedowns. I think Usman is a better offensive wrestler than Belal. He's better at scoring takedowns. Belal's kind of just that guy that'll drag it out and he'll pressure you, and he's got a great pace. And I do think as the fight goes on late, I do think Belal might be able to steal some rounds if it gets there, but I actually think Leon might find a finish early, and he's going to be finding that head kick, he's going to be finding his 1-2, and he's going to have the range down. We saw it in the first fight. Belal looks severely outsized. He just looks small in there. Leon just looks like he's got the range, he's way more technical on the feet, and they're saying this is going to be his fourth camp in a row for a pretty much pure wrestler. He fought Usman. Obviously, Usman's got good striking, but I imagine he was defending, he was grappling for a lot of that training camp. Does the Usman camp twice, then he's fighting Colby, and now he's fighting Belal. This guy is just doing wrestling camps back to back. He's going to be working that skill. He's going to be improving the wrestling a lot, because we already know his striking is better than Belal. And I think the wrestling shouldn't be too much of a problem. You might get taken down a couple times, but this ain't Charles Oliveira who's jumping on your back and choking you out. Belal ain't finishing guys, so I don't think he's just going to be able to Gelton Almeida, Derek Lewis his way to a decision here. So I am going to pick Leon Edwards, and I think he might actually find a finish. TKO, maybe a knee. Belal shoots a takedown, Leon frames off and then knees him as Belal's trying to stand back up from a takedown or something like that, or maybe catches him with a 1-2, or maybe a head kick like he landed in the first fight. But I do think Leon finds the finish here, but I'm actually looking forward to the matchup. It should be pretty fun, and I hope these guys have a bit of shit talk for each other at the press conference. But Leon's gonna be, bruv, are you Arab? That's why you didn't get fucking title shot sooner, bruv. No one likes you, bruv. That's what Leon's going to be saying at the press conference. And Belal's going to be like, Dana, please, just give me my shot. And Dana's like, kid, you already got your fucking title shot. But yeah, let's move on to the co-main event. Next up, we got Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. Just had to put on the Curtis Blaydes accent for that one. But I am going to be picking Tom Aspinall, and I am excited for this fight. I think this is also a very interesting matchup. Another rematch, so the main and co-main, both rematches, and I do think that's why some people will just look at this and be like, oh, it's not interesting. The casuals will just be like, they've already fought before, you already know who's going to win, even though obviously Blaydes and Aspinall ended in 15 seconds in a fluky way, and Leon Belal was a no contest. So both fights are rematches from like unsatisfactory endings in the first fight, which is good. We get closure on both of these rematches. But I do think Aspinall's going to win. I think if he doesn't slip on a fucking banana peel and tear his ACL in training camp and do a Darren Till in the cage, I think he should beat Blaydes everywhere, to be honest. He is hittable on the feet, and Blaydes does have power, but Blaydes, let's be honest, he's stood with worse guys than Aspinall and not put him away. So let's not act like KO and Chris Daukaus is like the end-all be-all, like you're KOing Aspinall. Like anyone with the slightest melanin in their skin is going to KO Chris Daukaus in the first round. And if you don't do that, you might need an ancestry DNA test because you might not be black. Just ask Adesanya. Like, there's a reason why Chris Daukaus would beat Dricus du Plessis, because like he would look at him and he'd just be like, no, he's fine. He's a good person. And they wouldn't quite have the motivation to beat Chris Daukaus. But back on topic. I don't know how I'm talking about Chris Daukaus here. But yeah, Tom Aspinall, I do think should win. He's the way cleaner striker. He's way quicker. He's got more power, in my opinion. He's just a more fluid guy on the feet. And even in the grappling, he's never been taken down. Blaydes is going to be the best one to try. I do believe that. But let's not act like Blaydes hasn't just had his takedown stuffed by guys before. And also Blaydes has a habit of freezing up in big fights when the lights are brightest, and he kind of shits himself and forgets to shoot takedowns, or he'll stand, or when he shoots, he charges headfirst from like 2 meters out and gets uppercutted by Derek Lewis. Like, I don't believe Blaydes is going to be, maybe he shows up at his 100% best for this, but I think he'll be a bit jittery. He'll be open on the feet. I think Aspinall is just going to be, he'll be loose, he'll be fluid, and he'll be bouncing around with that middleweight speed, or that welterweight speed, you could say, and he'll be jabbing in and out. He'll be coming in and out and go bap bap, and he'll just catch Blaydes. I think rock him similar to how we did Pavlovich, and then I reckon we'll see another one of those like bap bap, and then it goes out a couple of seconds and bap bap, and it just puts him away again. Like maybe some kind of Glover Teixeira, like Gustafsson sort of combo, where he catches him with just repetitive shots. Like he freezes him with one, and then Blaydes is trying to find himself, and he gets bap, 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 and just gets cracked and put away. So I do think Aspinall should win this. And Blaydes, again, didn't even look that good against Almeida. Like, he got the finish, but the whole first round was just him getting chucked around. So let's not act like even Aspinall could probably take Blaydes down. And Blaydes is one of those guys who you just got the feeling he'd be like a turtle off his back. That's just the vibe I get with Blaydes. Like, he's so used to wrestling other guys, I don't think he spends a fucking second on his back in the gym. He's just taking other guys down. So if Aspinall gets him down, I wouldn't even mind a submission from Aspinall. But I'm going to pick Tom Aspinall by TKO KO on the feet pretty easily in the first couple rounds. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Next up, we got Bobby Green versus, mate, I swear to fucking God, lad, I'm gonna fucking KO this man stiff. Yeah, we got Paddy Pimblett versus Bobby Green. Great matchup. I'm gonna pick Bobby Green to fucking school Paddy Pimblett and probably, like, TKO him or beat him up on the feet to a decision, because I don't think Paddy's striking is good at all. Somehow, bedtime MMA, respect to the guy, but I think he's trying too hard with this, putting Paddy as like a prospect of the lightweight division. He's not a fucking prospect. He lost to Jared Gordon. He's looked shit in most of his fights. He's not that good. So, bedtime, I think you're a great content creator, and I think most of your takes are good, but sometimes it just feels like you're trying a bit too hard with like the Paddy's a prospect. Like, no, he's not. He's shit. But I do think if this stays standing, which I do think it will, I reckon Bobby Green should torch him all day. Paddy's not that good at striking. I truly believe that. You cracked Tony Ferguson and almost finished him in round 1. Congratulations, you beat a fucking corpse. And again, Bobby Green didn't look the best against T-Ferg either, but that's one of those styles that for everyone you're not going to look good, but it's like more consistently. I've just seen in his last fight against Jim Miller, Pat a field day. And he could get caught. Paddy does have some power, and Bobby Green does leave himself open a little bit, so maybe catches him with a big looping shot, but I just don't think it happens. I reckon Bobby Green stuffs the takedowns. Maybe Paddy is like charged up and fucking supercharged by the England crowd, but I doubt it happens. I do think he'll get tuned up. I think Bobby Green's jab will be firing. He'll be quicker than Paddy on the feet. Paddy's going to be throwing with his fucking chin up like he always does. Like, mate, I swear to fucking God, lad, why the fuck is this defense not working? I thought I could just fucking have no defense and it'd fucking get me a world title, lad. It worked in fucking Cage Warriors, lad. But yeah, I apologise for the accent. But yeah, Bobby Green should tune him up, in my opinion. Let's move on, though, to some other fights, which we already knew about, but yeah, we'll talk about them anyway. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. We've known about this for ages, but I don't think I've talked about it on an actual video. I'm picking Allen to just tune him up and win everywhere, to be honest. I don't think Giga's boxing is shown to be not that good, and this mystical fucking Giga kick that he was getting unranked featherweights with just doesn't work when you're actually good at fighting. He beat Barboza, which is a great win, but apart from that, Kape fucking whooped him, and Allen's way better than Kape. It's not even like, you can't use MMA math. Like, bro, let's be honest, we've seen them fight. It's pretty easy using the eye test. Allen's way better. He doesn't get cracked that much on the feet. He doesn't really get rocked and dropped badly. He got dropped by Holloway when he ran in like a tard because everyone for some reason insists on engaging with Holloway in the pocket in the last 10 seconds of a fight. But he looked great against Holloway for most of that fight. He lost, clearly, but it was sort of like not the same fight, but in comparison, I would say like the featherweight version of like Strickland versus Mavov. Not to say that that's like the same skill level, of course, but a similar concept. Like one guy holding forward, towards the top of the division, other guy comes in, looks solid, and in hindsight, it's actually a really good performance, but still, like Imavov, 49-46 loss, but in hindsight, that's not a bad loss at all. Same with Allen and Holloway. Again, don't come at me and say like, you called Strickland Holloway. No, I didn't. But a similar sort of concept, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I do think Allen's going to smoke him. Giga's not that good. He's been inactive. Even in the Caceres fight, and we've seen Caceres just go tit for tat with Sean Woodson, who's not that good. And Caceres, like, he beat him. He clearly beat Caceres, but it wasn't like he was looking like a world beater styling on him. So yeah, I do think Allen should win this fight. He'll way cleaner boxing. Allen's not really a guy to get the TKO, so I think this is more of a decision kind of win for him. He could also mix in takedowns, because we saw Kape dominate on the ground in round 1 against Chikadze. So yeah, I think Allen wins this pretty comfortably. Let's move on, though, to the last fight. Manel Kape, the based one himself. He's going to need to be based here, because, he's losing the based energy day by day when he kept missing weight or pulling out of fights. But I do think he will beat Muhammad Mokaev. I don't think Mokaev's that good. Now, maybe this is just a case of all the English fighters are just on smoke, and maybe, Mokaev, who I previously put in my video of having the worst power in the sport pound for pound, maybe that age is terrible and somehow we see Mokaev level up and get hands. But I doubt it. I think we're going to see the same Mokaev that shows up every time, which is the guy that will just shoot a bunch of takedowns, probably get half of them stuffed, spend 3/4 of the fight on his knees like a whore, and the other guy just can't get enough damage off because they, for some reason, refuse to just disengage, and instead they try and be like, let me stuff this takedown, instead of and then clinch or wrestle or something like that, or they'll just get held down. But no one is like, okay, let me actually just push the fucker and pressure this guy on the feet and just clamp him, and he's not going to fucking do anything because his striking's awful and he can't hurt me. No one does that, but I think Manel Kape will. Manel Kape's the guy that will go on the front foot. I don't think he'll be scared of the takedown. Maybe gets taken down a couple times, but Mokaev scores takedowns and he doesn't really finish straight away. We don't see this guy look just crazy good, really at all, to be honest. Durden fight, he looked solid, but Elliott fight, he was down 2-0 going into the third. Perez fight was just not a great performance. He looked shit. I guess he said he was sick, but let's not act like you don't literally always look like that, little bro. But yeah, I think Kape's just way better on the feet. Kape's, I don't think he's just crazy bad at grappling. It's definitely an exploitable weakness. He could just get taken down. I wouldn't say that's super out of the realm of possibility, but I do think he'll be way better on the feet and he'll win on damage by decision, because Mokaev, I just think's got enough of a little gremlin style that he can avoid getting finished, but I think he'll get tagged up on the feet a whole bunch. But yeah, that is the card, guys. That's the main card. It's a sick fucking card. I put up a poll about what's a better card on paper, 298, which was the Volkanovski-Topuria card, or this, in terms of just the fights on paper. 298 is in the lead, but it's a pretty slight lead, and around 100 people have voted so far, last time I checked, which was an hour ago. But yeah, it's a sick card. I'm looking forward to it. pretty much all these main card matchups have intrigue, and the press conference will be sick too. Thought I'd mention that. Mokaev and Kape are gonna chat, unless for some reason Kape, because we know Kape's become a Alhamdulillah type of individual now, so maybe it's haram for him to talk bad to another Alhamdulillah. But Alan and Giga won't say much. Alan's like, yeah, it's a good fighter, but what's it called? Paddy and Bobby Green will talk shit, and Paddy could talk shit with Mokaev too, because if you know, those two have had some beef in the past. Paddy, the eugenicist, he's been on smoke in the past, standing on business. Aspinall and Blaydes, I don't think will have too much to say, but Leon and Belal, I do think will talk a little bit too. So I expect some good moments at the press conference, and I expect some good fights, and sucks for you UK fans, pussies, tough for you guys, you gotta watch 3 a.m. MMA. Deal with it, fuckheads. But anyway, peace out, guys. See ya.